the possible emergencies that could happen to Yobe State. What are those bad situations that could happen to Yobe State so that we can prepare beforehand? Of course, one of the common threats or emergencies that could happen to Yobe, everyone could guess, is the insecurity, especially the surge or escalation of the Boko Haram or ISWAP attacks. These are likely emergencies which are very high in Yobe State. So what kind of plan do we have? What kind of preparation do we have when these eventualities happen? So in emergencies, you are not hoping for the worst, but you are anticipating and preparing yourself. In the event of these things happen, how will you respond? So this is make you prepare for emergencies. Another possibility, things that could happen to Yobe State, is the communal clashes. We've seen it happening in Plateau, in Benue. The communal clashes are likely to happen anytime. If it happens, what do we do as ministries, departments, and agencies, security institutions? Do you have a plan in place in case of any communal clash? What are we going to do? Banditry, kidnapping. These are all possibilities because we are seeing them happening in other states in Nigeria. Another thing that is likely to happen to Yobe State is flooding. We've seen what happened in Kogi. We've seen what happened even nearby in Borno State. Especially with the climate change, we might experience heavy rain that might be beyond the soil consumption. And it might flood to other people's farmlands and even homes and destroy properties and even lives. So do we have plans in place, first to mitigate the occurrence? And if it happens, how do we respond to these emergencies? Another very serious emergency that could happen to Yobe State is desertification. Lands that were fertile, farmlands that could produce high quantity of crops, they are now producing less quantity of crops, leading to food insecurity and hunger. This is one of the biggest emergencies because food insecurity is a big disaster. So desertification is approaching, is encroaching into Nigeria every year by 600 meters. Every year, 600 meters of our lands are becoming desert. This is a big threat. Another threat is drought, lack of rainfall. Even yesterday I was in Jajere. People were praying for rain. Drought. Is it not a disaster? Is it not a mature? I've seen the pure water plastic bags littered everywhere. Even in their gutters, in their rivers, pure water plastic bags everywhere on the road. Say you want to full of truck. Say, why are you cutting down trees? These are creators, are living creators. And you are causing more climate change, global warming. He said, man has to survive before the climate. I said, that's wrong. We can co-survive together. So cutting down of trees every day is creating more chances and possibilities of these emergencies to happen. But here is a catch. You as an MDAs, your responsibilities are two only: to implement national and subnational policies. That's number one. Number two is to prepare, coordinate, and respond to emergencies. But all these emergencies I mentioned, they demand one thing. They demand effective leadership. Because whether the success or failure of emergency preparedness and responses, whether it's going to be successful or not, it hinges on the quality of leadership. And that is why you are here. What kind of leadership are you creating as a community, as a state, to respond to any kind of emergency, no matter how big or small it is? And how do you work together, coordinated? Emergency preparedness. I heard Professor talking about it, which is you about anticipating the eventuality. Anticipate these kind of worst situations, and then if you anticipate it, you plan for it, and then you prepare. Part of the preparation is for you to provide the adequate resources. How many times we had emergencies, but there were no funds available to deploy immediately to address those situations? So Yobe State must have emergency funds, emergency response funds. This could be maybe 10 billion naira, any kind of money. You put it aside in case of any emergency. You also need to have drills. This is where you do training. So, okay, now let's imagine there is a Boko Haram attack. Okay, let's see how are we going to coordinate. How do you communicate? So these kind of drillings are part of preparations. Then emergency, if it happens, then emergency response. How do you now respond to the emergencies? One of the things, the first thing you need to do is to activate the plan. The second thing is to coordinate the team. Bring the team together immediately. And then communication. Communication is vital in the event of emergency. Because emergency comes in different phases, in 4 phases. The first phase is called mitigation. In this meeting, how do you now create this committee or system where you can mitigate all these emergencies I've mentioned? You can now illustrate each of these emergency and assign probability of its occurrence. So now, which of these emergencies have higher chances of happening? And then if it happens, now what plan are you going to put in place? So, to mitigate it. So mitigation plan, and then you have the preparedness, and then you have the response, and then you have recovery. After every emergency, you must have a recovery plan. Like what we have after after COVID-19, recovery. So what is your recovery plan? So that things that got damaged, the lives that were lost, how do you compensate for this kind of thing? So that you can also repair the political image of the state. Recovery is very important plan. But before I finish my speech, I want to just highlight some of the skills you need, leadership skills needed in emergency management. The first leadership skill that you need is decision making. You need to make quick and firm decision. In the event of emergency, you don't have time to consult everyone. There is no democratic process of decision making. That is the best time when you need autocratic leadership skills needed in emergency management. The first leadership skill that you need is decision making. You need to make quick and firm decision. In the event of emergency, you don't have time to consult everyone. There is no democratic process of decision making. That is the best time when you need autocratic leadership in the event of emergency. Like, of course, in my example, I've led several organizations. There are so many times when I have to be an autocratic leader. I don't have to wait for my team to consult or to send something to the National State Assembly or to sit with the cabinet and make a decision. You just have to make quick and firm decision. Another leadership skill that you need is communication and coordination. How do you now coordinate? Is there any system that brings all these MDAs together? All the MDAs that are stakeholders in emergencies. Do you have any network? Do you have any communication channel where you can pass information and mobilize your team within a moment's notice? You have to create that communication and coordination system immediately. And you can leverage this meeting to set that up. Another thing is called emotional intelligence. As leaders, you are not expected to show this kind of emotions. You need to calm down, show empathy, and control how you speak. You need to also have delegation and trust. You have to trust people. You have to delegate. You don't have to assume everyone's responsibility. And you also have to be flexible and adaptable, because not all plans can fit to all emergencies. You might plan A, but the situation will not need plan A. So you need to have so many plans, plan A, plan B, and plan C. So there's so many kind of leadership skills, leadership styles you can apply. You can apply autocratic, participative, transformational, or servant leadership. These are kind of leadership you need. We've seen several examples of this kind of emergency. Recently, we've seen it in Benue, where communal clash. A lot of people, hundreds of people were killed in just 5 hours overnight. And people are angry, want to retaliate. You don't want that to happen. So how do you mitigate that from happening? If it happened, how do you now respond to this situation? So finally, one of the things that a lot of leaders highlight as the challenges they face in the face of emergencies are political pressure. Everyone wants solution now. People start criticizing you. You are not doing your job. You are not competent leaders. Pressure will be so much on you. So you have to close your ears from all criticism and face the problem squarely. Another thing is lack of enough resources. You may not have adequate resources, even mobility, vehicles to move around, communication channels. Maybe network fallout, you don't know how to communicate with one another. You have alternative system of communication. Or misinformation. You might be given wrong information. Maybe there was an attack. They will tell you, no, this attack is minor. No, you don't have to do anything about it. But it's a big attack. So these are some of the challenges you face. For example, cultural or social diversity. This can also be a challenge or escalation of the problem. But lastly, what I want to leave you with, for every emergency, is opportunity for you to reflect back and see what have you not done. And now try to do that thing now. If Boko Haram happened, if flood happened, if all kind of emergencies happen, reflect, study about that emergency and see what could you have done to prevent it from happening, and then start doing that thing now to prevent the future occurrence of the emergency. So this is a bit I can give you. I'm happy that I can share this little with you. Wish you all the best, and we look forward to a better outcome at the end of this workshop. Thank you.